A housing market crash is on a lot of people's minds these days, and if you do a search for it on YouTube, you'll probably think we're already in one based on the types of thumbnails you see. In this video, we're going to dig into the data ourselves and see if we are really there, and if not, when could it be coming? Let's get into it. With all the hype on YouTube talking about a crash in the housing market, it can be hard to know who to listen to for the answer. In addition to being a licensed real estate agent, I'm also a professional economist, so I can bring you the kind of analysis you need to answer these questions. I don't just report on news stories and speculate about the data. I dig into it myself to see what's really going on. So let's get right into it and answer the questions you came here for. Is the housing crash here? And if not, when is it coming? The latest data from Redfin, a national real estate brokerage, shows the median home price in the U.S. overall reached $416,000 in April on a seasonally adjusted basis, which was 15% higher than the same time a year ago. Now, if you look at this graph alone, you might tell anyone who says we're in a housing crash that they've lost their mind. Home prices keep setting new records each month, but we can't look at prices alone. Prices are, after all, a function of supply and demand. So let's dig a bit deeper and see if we see any significant movement in those indicators. On the supply side of the market, the inventory of current homes are at record lows for the nation overall, with no signs of reversal of that trend in the current data. This is one of the reasons we see prices remaining high, because supply is so low. If we were in the middle of a housing crash, we would see inventories rising as homes go unsold and new listings pile up on top of them. There's just no sign of this happening in the current data at this time. And new listings are trending below where they were before the pandemic, which is contributing to the low market supply we're seeing. Switching over to the demand side, we are seeing a downtrend forming in home sales the last few months, and this really is the first crack we're starting to see in this red-hot housing market. The decline is not severe yet, however, as sales volumes have only just now broken through the pre-pandemic peak. The lower sales volume shouldn't come as much of a surprise, though, given what is happening with mortgage rates, which have surged in response to the Federal Reserve tightening of monetary policy this year, going from 3.2% to 5.3% in just 5 months. This has undoubtedly pushed many buyers out of the market, as the average home payment as a percent of income has reached record levels of unaffordability that we haven't seen since the 1980s. But despite the decline in affordability, the buyers that remain in the market are still showing signs of robust demand. The average sales to list price ratio is still above 100% and has even rebounded from what looked like the start of a downtrend in 2021. If we were in the middle of a housing crash, we would definitely not continue to see homes selling above list price at record levels. In addition, the average days on market is still at record low levels. Although we did see a slight uptick in April, something we'll continue to watch in the months to come. So, are we in the middle of a nationwide housing market crash right now? Absolutely not. You can show me all the news stories and anecdotal evidence you want. You just can't see it in the latest housing market data at this time. But given how unaffordable housing has become due to rising mortgage rates and record high prices, it can't keep going up. So the question that remains is, when will it go down and by how much? This is something I'm covering in great length in some of my other videos, so make sure to check those out if you want to explore it in more depth. The short story is that we could see prices go down anywhere between 14% and 30% by the end of the year, depending on what happens with inflation, the Federal Reserve's monetary policy response to inflation, and where mortgage rates go in response to that. We also need to keep in mind that housing crashes aren't rapid. We typically don't see prices plummet overnight. Take the last housing market crash, for example. It took more than 3 years for the median price of an existing home to go from $235,000 in October of 2005 to $168,500 in April of 2009, according to data from the National Association of Realtors. It was a slow burn to the bottom and didn't happen in just a few months. So we'll have some time to see this happening as it unfolds, unless we have some kind of black swan event like the shelter-in-place orders at the beginning of the pandemic that practically ground real estate activity to a halt. A severe bout of inflation that would prompt the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates significantly in a short amount of time would be another scenario where we could see a rapid decline in home prices. One final consideration when assessing a coming housing market crash is what is happening regionally. We can't look at just national level statistics, and to that end, I also have a list of the top 20 markets in the nation that I'm looking at for early warning signs of an impending market crash. Last month, I released a regional analysis video for Austin, Texas, the #1 market on my list, and I'll be releasing a video on the Phoenix, Arizona market in the coming weeks. So here on this channel, I'm looking at all the factors we need to assess if we're really in the middle of a housing market crash, and if not, when it might come and how hard could prices fall. If you want to stay up to date on all of these, but don't want to do the research for yourself, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell down below so you know when my next video comes out. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others on social media to support the channel and help it grow. It is much appreciated. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.